Well, happy spring, everybody. This is Lindsay Kramer from syracuse.com and SOS Spotlight Athlete of the Week. Today, we're joined by Liverpool bowler Ashley Hardy. Ashley, thank you for joining us on your off day from school. Now, you can't quite see, but Ashley is wearing a shirt that says New York State Public High School Athletic Association champion. And she's wearing that because she and the Section 3 girls team won the state championship this weekend, and everybody was a big part of that, but Ashley was a super big part of that with an 8-15 series, their first 3 games, and drum roll please, a 300 game. So congratulations.
Thank you.
We can tell by just looking at you, you're still bursting with pride. How does it feel a day later to have rolled a 300 game and to help your team win a state championship?
It's crazy. It's still sinking in personally. I know it's something that I've had a lot of people, it'll come in time, you'll get there eventually. And I did it when it was needed most for the team to help us win states.
That's Ashley's first 300, and she was telling us before that she started her series, her first series, with a spare and a spare, set 1 7-pin and 1 10-pin, first 2 frames of the day. Now it's hard to look at that and say you knew it was coming after that, but you mentioned that you got the spares out of the way and your coach told you, okay, go strike out, easier said than done. But did you have a feeling in that first game when you had 10 strikes in a row that you were in for a big day?
Yes and no, to be honest. I mean, I kind of knew that, hey, I found something good that's going to help the team. I didn't realize the extent of where it would go, but yeah.
You mentioned that you, in those first couple of frames, you found a mark, right? A line on the alley.
Yeah.
For those of us not necessarily familiar with the X's and O's of bowling, tell us what that means and the importance of that.
So, at least for me, finding a line is finding a spot on the lane where if you throw it consistently, whether you miss it by a board or a couple boards, you know that it's going to come back up to the head pin and is going to either strike or leave you something that you can easily spare. I was able to find that during practice, and I just stuck with it for those first 3 games, and it worked wonders.
As you're rolling along for the 10 strikes in a row, which is incredible in itself, did you feel some momentum building? Did you feel like this was going to be your day?
I mean, in a way, yeah. I definitely, after shooting the 279, I was like, okay, I could definitely go somewhere with this. I mean, I might have a shot at shooting like a 700 or something, but I didn't necessarily put myself in the mindset for like the big leagues. I was just so in tune to what can I do for the team? What can I do to keep the team afloat so we have a shot at this?
And then, so 279 is a great way to start. And the second game and third game, you start out, obviously, the third game, you're still striking out. Could you tell in that third game that, at what point could you tell that maybe this was something special and possibly a 300?
I don't really know. It was probably around the 8th frame. I know I had the front 5 and I was like, okay, I could pull a really good game out of this. Then, a couple frames went by, all of a sudden it was front 8 and I was like, oh, I'm getting kind of closer. Then it was 9 and I was like, once I had the one in the 9th, I was like, okay, just gotta relax, just breathe. And then in the 10th frame, after I kind of got the nerves out in the first shot of the 10th frame, that was one of my not so great shots of the game. Kind of was like, okay, I have a decent chance at this. My dad actually was telling me that he knew what I needed to hit 800. He didn't necessarily mind if I missed 300, which I obviously would have been a little kind of hurt by it, but he was so focused on me hitting that 800 that he wanted me to hit it, and having the 300 in there too. Just, it was kind of 2 birds with 1 stone.
Let's talk about nerves. Are you, is your stomach jumbling? Is your head spinning? What does one think when one gets to the 8th frame and the 9th frame? You know how close you are.
It's a lot. Kind of depends on each person. I know for me, it was a lot of nerves. even having done it before, shooting a 297 a couple of years ago, that was a lot of nerves, and that's kind of what I was thinking about. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, I was so nervous last time, and I think that's part of the problem." So I just kept trying to tell myself, "Just relax. It's okay." But it's natural to have those nerves, and what makes it twice as worse is when everybody in the bowling alley just stops. Because once you get, you get rolling and you all of a sudden you have front 8, front 9, you have the spotlight. Everybody is watching you, everybody's stopping what they're doing. There's a huge crowd that amasses, like, it's all eyes on you, and it creates such an unnatural environment because you're so used to hearing pins crashing, hearing the yelling, people striking, people going up next to you, and then all of a sudden just to have everything stop, but you're still bowling, it's so weird. So I was actually kind of glad that one of the girls I was bowling with from section 6, she went up to me the last shot. She's like, "Do you want me to go?" And I told her yes, because it made me feel less pressured, and I was very glad that she asked.
And nobody has to tell you that you are close to 300. It's like a no hitter in baseball. Do you want people talking to you? Do you stay away from people? Do you want people saying good luck, or what is your approach that way? Does people talking to you making you more nervous, or do you want to just keep it as normal?
I'd say just keep it as normal as normal. I didn't really have a lot of people, say good luck to me like in the 10th frame or everything. It was more of just everybody was like standing there afraid to move, like afraid to almost breathe in a sense because they were just so on edge in anticipation.
Mhm.
But just the fact that it was kept as normal as possible, I think just helped a lot.
So you let that, well, it's 12 frames, so you let that ball go and you just throwing so many strikes in your life, you probably know, what's a good shot and what's not. But you probably throw in a million balls where it's like, oh, that, yeah, it's striking. It's just a 7-10 split, or there's a 7 or a 10 left.
Mhm.
Um, just the milliseconds where the ball is rolling down the alley for that 12th strike. Do you know right away? Can you tell?
I I will say I felt very good about the shot. Even the last 2, I know I was kind of shaking when I was holding my ball ready to get started, and when I released, though, I felt very confident in both shots, which kind of surprised me afterwards because I know I was so nervous. Um, but I saw it come off my hand, I saw it play the line that I'd been playing the entire game. I'd made, one board moves, tweaks here and there if I had to, just to keep up with it. And when I let that last ball go and it came right up to the pocket, I mean, I was hoping I just wasn't gonna leave like a stone 10 pin or something, but it just buried right into the pocket. And it was one of the best feelings I've felt in the bowling world that in so long. Like just that shot and how good it felt.
So all the pins scatter and it sinks in that yes, you have done it. Uh, Pandemonium ensues. Everybody's congratulating you.
Mhm.
Did you blank out? Do you remember what you were thinking? Do you remember the ensuing 10, 15 seconds, a few minutes after accomplishing that?
All I know is that it was just pure chaos. Everybody erupted and there were screams and yells, and it was like it was hug after hug, high five after high five. I kept walking through the alley later that afternoon because I just like I'd have to go get something, I'd go find someone, and it was like every corner I turned, someone would tap my shoulder, someone would say my name, they'd look at me, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, congratulations." I'll be like, "I don't know you, but thank you." Like I got to the point where it's like I kind of felt bad because like I didn't know what to say except thank you. Like I was just astonished that everybody in the bowling center knew my name by the end of the night because I had done that.
Sure. What's cool about this event is not only, some state events you compete as teams, Liverpool or CBA. In this event, you've got the multiple teams combining for a Section 3 team. So bowlers that are usually your friendly rivals are your teammates. Tell me a little bit
Mhm.
about that sensation. And I know you all know each other, but how is it like to sort of combine with your former rivals to win something for Section 3?
I think it was a lot of fun and it was definitely quite the experience. Actually, half of us on the team were seniors, so we were really happy that we could just get to do this as our final year. Especially since one of the other girls who I'm actually very close with, we were supposed to do this 2 years ago and they canceled it with COVID and everything. But we were just, I mean, we didn't know each other other than the day and a couple practices, but you wouldn't think that. Like, we just bonded close enough. We were screaming for each other, rooting for each other. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm surprised I still have a voice. That's just how enthusiastic we were. Like, you would not know that we came from different schools unless we were wearing our school jerseys.
Well, Ashley is going to be going to college at Union, and that we're not talking Union, New York, we're talking Union, Kentucky, and she's going to be bowling there. It's easy to think that, well, bowling season's over, high school season's over, go off and do something else. But to be really good, like Ashley, you don't just stop bowling. You keep bowling and bowling till your arm falls off. Tell us a little about what your quote unquote off season is like now that high school season is over, where you bowl, and how often a week, how many times a week you bowl.
So now that high school's done, it's usually twice a week. Saturday mornings at Flamingo Bowl, just doing the junior league for my last year. They also run an optional practice on Wednesday nights from 5 to 6 p.m. So I usually go to that, whether I'm bowling myself or coaching some of the younger kids. Kind of just depends on the Wednesday. But I know I'll probably start picking up more practices like May, June or so, especially on sports shots, because in July I'm going out to nationals in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So yeah, that'll be quite the experience.
It takes a lot of motivation to be good in any sport, especially bowling, when there's a lot of monotony. Just again and again doing the same thing on generally the same types of lanes. What is it about bowling that keeps it interesting for you? What's the most appealing part of the sport?
Actually, probably one of the most appealing parts to me is the people and the community, because the community is so huge and accepting, and they're just, I mean, you can connect with anybody anywhere. And the minute you start talking about bowling and they do it too, there's an instant connection and you can just feel it. It's something that, like, I don't even know. Like, it's just something that you can do at any age, so you get like this whole wide range of ages that you can bond with, whether it's your bumper bowlers or your seniors bowling and league. Like, there's so many people you can interact with that can give you tips, tricks, or maybe you're giving tips and tricks. And it's amazing.
So in other words, even though again technically high school season is over and spring is here, you're well, not getting started, but you're full go regardless, right? You've got a very busy schedule coming up,
Yep.
and that's something, of course, that has got to be great for you, right? You really look forward to that, I would imagine.
Yeah, I definitely do. I know there's so many people that are like, oh, once you get past April, May, leagues ending and all that, you're done, right? I'm like, no. They look at me, they're like, what do you mean, no? I'm like, I've got this tournament coming up, I've got nationals, I'm practicing, doing a summer league, whatever the case is. I'm bowling year round.
Well, finishing with that 300 in the 815 series, that state championship, certainly sort of caps one thing. But as you said, you've got a very busy schedule coming up. What might be goals that people don't necessarily realize for your upcoming weeks and months?
Um, Definitely keeping myself consistent. I know every so often I'll fall into a couple weeks where there's something off in my approach and I just can't figure it out, and it'll make me dip a little, and I just got to figure out, okay, this is kind of what's wrong or what's not right. This is how to fix it. Now I got to go do it. But definitely consistency, especially for junior gold, because that is a big part of nationals, is just maintaining that consistency, doing the best you can, throwing the best shots that you can, and just going from there.
Okay. Well, again, very busy spring and summer coming up in the bowling world for you. That's how you get to be really, really good. So we appreciate you taking some time out today, an off day today at school, and joining us and sharing with us your busy weekend. Congratulations again.
Thank
And
you.
to all our viewers out there, thank you for joining us again this week. Join us next week on syracuse.com, and we'll have another SOS Spotlight of the week. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you in a few days. Bye-bye.